Welcome everyone. This video is going to be a follow-up or part 2 for the water from air video that I produced a little while ago. I didn't go into much of the operation of the device, just showed the amount of water it had collected over a small period of time. A lot of people said that they didn't understand how it worked and wanted to see it running. So I've downloaded and printed out just a couple of printouts on how this device operates. I don't necessarily understand the finer details of how it does what it does, but more so that it does what it does. I pay a lot more attention to the benefits from something than the requirement for my full understanding of how I obtain a benefit. So I have looked at this before, and I don't 100% remember, but I believe that these, so this is the little ceramic peltier device, which is inside here. I will quickly grab one. Okay, I should have had that ready to go. So that's the peltier device that's in this picture here, and it's located beneath this fan. You can see a little bit of heat paste here, which just allows a sufficient or an adequate heat transfer into the heat sink, and this heat sink is then cooled by this fan. It's really a good idea to have this when it's in operation for the heatsink to be vertical as opposed to that way. It naturally heat rises, so we want that coming up out of the fins there. It'll be more efficient like that. Doesn't really draw a lot of power. So we'll quickly go over this, and then I'm going to show a means of use, because this device, I'll be honest, I can't afford to go building everything that I think of. And I don't really have that much of a desperation for water at the moment. Only a couple of months ago we were in a drought. But this country regularly experiences drought, and is probably fair to say is permanently in drought, and that would probably suggest as to why most of the country is uninhabited. So my need for water, there's an abundance of water at the moment. In actual fact, it's making the grass grow way too fast, and I'm having trouble keeping up. So this system, whilst I can't really afford to show you a working unit, I've knocked up a little 3D representation of what you should do if you feel that you need to spend that money. So I believe that these N-type semiconductors and P-type semiconductors are arranged in series. The plates that you see there is like a serial connection, and then they go through the whole plate, and they're all arranged in an appropriate manner. I believe the heat, when you apply electricity, it just creates a cold side and a hot side. Again, do you really need to understand it? Or do you need to know that it's available and that you can buy one and you can use one? It's like knowing that your car has, an ECU and a map sensor, and it regulates a lot of things inside the engine, air, fuel mixture, CO2, the whole lot. It manages so many things. Do you need to know how it does it? Or do you need to know how to turn the wheel left, right, put the foot on the gas and the brake? I think we can bog ourselves down a little too often trying to tell ourselves that we're so much smarter than other people around us, and I'm sort of in the camp where I'm just like, you know what, I don't really care if you're smarter than me. Can you teach me something? If you can, I'm all ears. You know, I'll jump on board. I probably won't pander to your ego, but I'll listen and I'll decide whether it's relevant and I'll implement it if I feel it's necessary. So there's just one picture. Downloaded another one here, which it's pretty much the same thing. That just probably gives the chemicals there that create the NPN, the N-type and the P-type semiconducting materials. So that's it, pretty straightforward. Now, I have, for those who want to see the device running, I'll quickly show you on these batteries here. I'm just going to hold it on. It's pretty much just a standard fan, and you've got one on the top side, the big fan, and then you've got the little fan there as well. Okay, and they are both important, and the airflow supplied to both fans is critical as well. So you couldn't put this fan down on the surface like I just did then. It wouldn't function properly, it can't draw air. So it's important that you arrange this device in an appropriate way. So for example, the bottom of this heatsink now is blocked by what it's sitting on, so the only air output is up. So that's important. You just keep that in mind when you're building your device together. So how this should be arranged to take advantage of, in my opinion, is this way. You would have 4 of these units, okay, illustrated here, and they would go on a stainless steel pipe, square tube. Now, I know you can get stainless steel guttering tube. That would be more than adequate there. And what we're doing is we're taking off the small heat sink and the small fan. We're leaving on the thermal peltier device. That's staying there. And the thermal peltier device is going up against the stainless steel guttering tube. Okay, I highly recommend stainless steel because you're going to have contamination of your water. If that's what it's for drinking, or you know, if you're going to put it on the garden, then it probably wouldn't be so much of an issue, unless of course you're eating some of the food that you're growing. So nature has its miraculous way of removing a lot of the problems if you do it the natural way. So I would recommend you're buying 4 of these units, attaching it to the stainless steel gutter, and then just a normal fan on top, which facilitates the action of this little fan. So the water would accumulate on the inside of this stainless steel tube, and so for those of you who wanted to see the actual thing in operation, I've recorded 40 minutes under time-lapse at 10x, so down to 4 minutes. So at the end of this, I'll tack that on, and I'll strip the audio because obviously it sounds really weird, 40 minutes on a time-lapse. And yeah, you'll get to see the actual formation of the ice crystals and then the condensing into water, and you can get an idea rather than sit there like some idiot that recorded it for 40 minutes. I didn't stay there. I just pressed record and walked away. But yeah, that's not true actually. I stayed there and watched it for quite a while. So yeah, again, it's probably not the right thing for me to do if I have an idea that someone could benefit from. It's not really right for me just to keep it because I don't really necessarily need it. And that necessity is the mother of invention, in my opinion. Again, when I discovered this, it was purely just by leaving it, and it happened 100 times before, but just one moment. I had a penny drop moment where I just went, hang on a sec, I wonder if we can use that concept for drawing in water, where I just had left a frozen water bottle on the bench. Came back a little bit later to check if it had started to defrost because I wanted to drink some cold water, and there was a massive, almost unbelievable pool of water around the base of this water bottle. And I initially thought that, did the water bottle have a leak in it, a small hole, to facilitate all this water on the bench? But when I realized the water bottle was full and that it wasn't actually leaking, and that this water had just been pulled from the air, and I probably got maybe half of a cup. And I didn't use any of the water that was stored inside the water bottle to acquire the half a cup of water. So it's just like, again, seen it a million times before, no big deal. But then I thought to myself, well, hang on a second, is there a product that is on the market that we could simulate this feature and obtain free water? Obviously, it's dependent on humidity and this sort of thing. So how would you arrange this? You would place this, I don't have a pen with me. You could do this in many ways. You could place this into a small container. You could place this on top of a water tank. It's very important that this tube be shaded. So say it was outside on a water tank and you positioned this directly above the hole on the top of the water tank. So this would just constantly drip 24 hours a day if you had a battery there. Constantly drip water inside your water tank. The critical factor here is that this must be kept out of the shade. If the sun hits this, in the shade, if the sun hits this, it just won't allow this to condense. It won't allow it to get cold enough. And any water that does form will just instantly evaporate. So it does have to be open to the air, obviously, to pull in that water. So you can't cover it up. It won't magically produce water. It's a harvester, a collector, not a generator. So that was the idea I had. Again, just didn't want the idea to go wasted. If somebody feels, I think when I checked, I think these were about $30 each on Amazon, this same unit here, or eBay or any of your other selling platforms. Yeah, so about $30. So again, you look at $120 just for that. I know the stainless steel gutter pipe isn't cheap either. You don't need a lot of it though. And then these little PC fans, they're pretty cheap. So you might be able to get out for, say, under $200. Oh, you need a solar panel, of course. And so that's what we're talking about here. I'm not suggesting that people go connect a system like that to your battery. I would have that independently run on solar, and if you wanted it to run during the night, then just place the battery on that solar panel. and a solar controller. So maybe about 200 bucks. You won't need a massive solar panel. These don't draw a huge amount of power. But then again, you would have 4 of them. So, just factor that in when you're working out the consumption of those units. Factor that in when you're purchasing your panel. Very, very cheap way to harvest water, and I can't see any reason why this wouldn't work in the middle of the Sahara Desert. So if you want to have a look at it, the US military produced one. Well, I believe it was a retired, ex-military personnel. I don't agree with the way they're marketing it. They've come up with this idea. This is an old idea. It's not mine. It's not theirs. This has been around for bloody forever. But typically, they've coined it as their idea. This guy that's promoting it, ex-military guy, and has used contacts to make it happen. And the military produce a unit that fits inside a shipping container, produces 5,000 litres a day. I think it just sucks that, again, the military has got something like that, control of water, but they don't seem to drop too many of those devices off in poor, impoverished places. So I question the morals and the ethics. It boiled my blood when I saw the video. I'm like, this guy's passing it off as though he's this amazing, and it's some of the mainstream media fault as well, because they're literally coined him as this genius. Anyway, look, he might be a genius for all I know, but I definitely know he didn't come up with this. I'm not going to say his name. I don't want to shitbag people, but it just boils my blood. So if anyone feels they are in the need for something like this, go and build yourself a water harvester. Alright, thanks for watching. Please stick around for the 4 minutes of time delay footage. And please like, share and subscribe. Have a nice day.